Hi everyone. In this section, we will start writing our first microservice. But first, let's start with a quick introduction to Spring Boot. So, what is Spring Boot? Spring Boot basically makes it easy to create standalone applications which you can easily develop and run. It requires minimal configuration thanks to the pre-configured dependencies. So in the end, it really accelerates application development. But how does it do that? It uses some auto configurations with predefined starter modules. It simply adds the required dependencies as jar files to your class path so that you can easily start using them in your Spring Boot applications. Here, I will summarize the most used starters and dependencies that comes with them. We will also use these starters in our coming sections. Spring Boot Starter Web. This starter is used for building web applications and REST-based APIs using Spring MVC. It will bring all necessary dependencies to start developing a web-based application, and these dependencies include Spring Core, Embedded Tomcat, Spring MVC, JSON, and Logback. Spring Boot Starter Test. Starter Test is used to start testing Spring Boot applications and provides you the required libraries for that purpose, such as JUnit, Spring Test, and Mockito. Spring Boot Starter Actuator. Starter Actuator brings production-ready features to your Spring Boot applications. And with that features, you can start to monitor and manage your services. Dependencies that this starter brings include health check, monitoring, and metric endpoints. Spring Boot Starter Security. This one is used for Spring Security and adds dependencies like Spring Security Config and Web Security to start writing secure applications. When you add Spring Security as a dependency, Spring Boot automatically secures all HTTP endpoints with basic authentication. You can of course further customize the security settings and the security method. Spring Cloud Starter Config. Cloud Starter Config helps you to start writing cloud-ready applications by bringing Spring Cloud Common, Context, and Config Client dependencies. Spring Boot Starter OAuth 2 Resource Server. This starter brings resource server support so that you can implement a resource server and start using it with an authorization server. Some dependencies comes with this starter are Spring Security Core, OAuth 2, and OSE. Spring Boot Starter TimeLeaf. TimeLeaf Starter adds a template engine to be able to create TimeLeaf views and create a basic frontend in Spring Boot applications. Finally, Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. This starter brings JDBC, Hibernate, and Spring Data to allow us writing to start data-driven applications. There are more starters that Spring offers for different purposes. Here I have summarized the most popular and used ones that we will use also during our course. Great, let's continue creating the base project for our application in the next lecture.